Hi, we're a part of the Two Toasters Android team, and we're going to talk about Google I/O today. I'm Chris.
I'm Patrick.
And I'm Curtis.
And these two guys actually got tickets for Google I/O. First, let's talk about what we're expecting in the keynote.
I think they would definitely mention Google Glass. They've had the Explorer kits out there for a while now, and it's probably about time for them to discuss a consumer release. Maybe sometime in the next year.
Yeah, they're getting more and more people into the program now, so it's getting easier and easier to get them. One thing I would really like to see in the keynote is a new Chromecast, because obviously the Chromecast has been one of Google's most successful things this last year. What I would really like to see is something with like 5 gigahertz capabilities and maybe something that actually has mirror casting built into it.
Yeah, that would be nice. Maybe a little spec bump. I wouldn't be surprised if they, handed one of those out during I/O.
That would be sweet.
If it exists.
Last year they announced Android Studio. We've really embraced Android Studio. Do you guys think that we'll be seeing anything specific about Android Studio?
I think they should be talking about a 1.0 release at some point. I mean, they're up to 0.6 now. I would think they'd talk about maybe some new features they're going to add down the road, maybe some things they're going to pull out of IntelliJ. I would be surprised if we didn't hear about it.
Yeah, Android Studio has been such a big improvement that it's awesome. Hopefully they'll talk about what their plans for the future are.
Yeah, a little bit of more road mapping right now and what we can be expecting.
Yeah.
One thing that we just saw from WWDC is them talking about Swift, right? I know that has a lot of us thinking and talking in the office. One thing I'd really like to see is Android 4.5, it's now cut off, and we have full Java 8 support.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
That would be nice.
That would be really great to see because we kind of have Java 7, but not really. Right, it's a few things from Java 7, string switch cases and whatnot. I know I'd definitely like to see like full Java 8 support.
Yeah, Java 8 would bring some nice things to the language.
If they end up giving away like a Nexus 8 or something, the tradition with doing that with Google is that we get a new Android version, right? So Android 4.5 is what the guess would be. You guys think that's a possibility of happening in the keynote?
Yeah, for sure. Last year it came out, I think in the fall is when KitKat came out. So it's a little early in their cycle, but anything's possible.
They could have a preview version of it or on the devices they hand out at I/O or something maybe. They did just have an incremental update to 4.4. So I don't know, it might be too early for 4.5.
The keynote is a big thing that we all watch at Google I/O. Everybody catches that, but really the meat of I/O is their talks, right? So all the different talks. I know we all have different talks we're excited about seeing.
The one talk that I'm particularly interested in is about building multimedia experiences. It specifically mentions new camera API, and the camera API behaves differently on a lot of different devices, so it would be nice if they're doing something to kind of alleviate that pain a little bit.
I completely agree. I know every time you have to touch the camera, it's like it's pretty bad because all manufacturers have it implemented slightly different. And getting that camera API to actually work the way it's supposed to is something that's really difficult. I mean, you always have devices that something is broken on, I feel like. So yeah, that'd be really sweet seeing the new camera API.
Another talk they have is on the ART runtime, which is something they've been talking about since last year.
Yeah, they kind of snuck it into KitKat a little bit, and people have been playing with it and switching their phones over to it, so it'd be nice to get some more information on it and see about how you need to develop your apps against it, since I guess that it's going to replace Dalvik down the road.
Yeah, it seems like that's the plan, is to replace Dalvik and get some better runtime performance out of the Java VM.
That'd be nice. I'm kind of wondering if there's like any specific tricks that we'll need to do to get the most out of ART, or maybe if there's even something with the NDK that specifically with ART.
Guess we'll find out.
Yeah. So one thing I noticed as I was scraping through all the talks and sessions is I noticed Android Power Performance Primer. In this description, they actually talk about like power consumption debug tools. Now, as far as I know, those don't actually exist.
Sounds like new tools.
Yeah, and so like I really think like, you know, Android has really gotten a lot better on battery life lately. Whether or not that's just because they put huge batteries in phones nowadays, I don't know. But it would be really nice to actually have some debug tools to allow us to look at power consumption performance and everything like that. And I know it would really help the platform too if devs had the ability to do that.
Absolutely.
One thing that comes up in Android development all the time is having to create custom views, and they're having a talk on that this time around. I believe they had one at last I/O too, but it's always a good idea to see what new tricks Google's come up with for creating your custom views that might have made it a little easier.
I know the custom view talk last year I thought was probably the best talk last year. It was a really awesome talk that I know for me really made a lot more stuff clear on what's going on there when you write your own custom views. Another talk that I'm really looking forward to is the RenderScript talk. I know RenderScript's been around for a while and whatnot, but as we're more dropping anything before API level 16, RenderScript is becoming like more of a tool that we'll want to use on a regular basis. And obviously you can do some pretty cool things with that. That's a talk that I'm really looking forward to seeing and checking out what they all have to say about RenderScript.
Yeah, that'd be something really informative, because RenderScript, you're not writing in Java, and most of us Android devs aren't that used to using RenderScript. So it'd be nice to see what they talk about.
Absolutely.
So one of the talks they're having is Android in the cloud. So I'm wondering if they're going to be unveiling some new cloud services that we can take advantage of.
Yeah, something maybe even some expansion to Google services itself. I would actually be really surprised if we don't hear about something new with Google services this year.
Yeah, they're trying to bundle in so much functionality in there now to unpair it with the OS. So.
Yeah, which is awesome.
Yeah, well, they have Google App Engine and they have Cloud Platform, and they have a lot of tools to integrate Android, like cloud endpoints. They're probably getting near it's been in beta, and I think it's getting near a 1.0 release.
That would be,
maybe we'll see that.
Yeah, that'd be sweet to see another 1.0 release. Maybe we'll be seeing a lot of 1.0 release announcements this year.
That would be cool.
I hope so.
Yeah. That's all we got for you today.
We'll see you at Google I/O.